In this video, we are going to cover my first experience playing competitively with the One Piece card game. I attended the Super Pre-Release tournament event in Newcastle. This expanded over 3 days, 25th, 26th, and 27th, which was Friday to Sunday. Let's get into it. The only experience I've had with card games is by playing the Pokemon trading card game on the Game Boy Advance. And then in secondary school, where I played Yu-Gi-Oh, but not competitively, those were the days when you had to sacrifice 2 cards in order to bring out a level 7 or 8 monster. So round 2 of going back up to Newcastle, I got to King's Cross Station, took the train at 1:30, heading up to Newcastle. There was a train that was cancelled beforehand, so that potentially made my journey a bit more packed. It was a 3.5 hour train ride. Got to Newcastle Station at 5 p.m. and instantly made my way over to Metro Centre. The layout was a Swiss style tournament. This is where you play 4 matches, you accumulate points, and the person with the most points for the 4th and final game face each other in the final. First and second place get the silver foil Luffy. It is imperative that you win your first 3 games, give you the best chance of winning that card. You could change decks in between rounds, and you had to start off the match with your leader face down so you don't know what each other is playing. And here is one of the organizers explaining the tournament rules.
Release event tournament and Namco Funscape. Thank you all for coming today and signing up. It's good to see some familiar faces here. We'll get along with this as quickly as possible so you can get to it and start battling it out. So I'll need to go over the official rules today. It is all essential reading that I need to do here. So we'll get through this so you are aware. I'm now going to explain the rules. So first off, we'll proceed this tournament according to the official One Piece card rules. The Super Pre-Release starter packs will be used for today's battles. Any cards that are outside of that, such as the promotional cards or the demo cards, cannot be used. So this is your last moment to have a little check to see if you have any in there and remove them from your decks. Please be aware that your decks must have the following requirements, which is 1 leader card, a 50 card deck, no more than 4 identical card numbers, and a deck of 10 done cards. You will be participating in a total of 4 single game battles. Each battle is a best of 1 match. One battle is 25 minutes, and we will be announcing at the 5 minutes mark that there'll be 5 minutes left at the 20-minute mark of each 25-minute battle. If the battle is still ongoing at the 25-minute mark, please end the battle after the current player has finished their turn. In that situation, the winner will be decided by the following rules. Number 1, the player with the highest number of life cards wins. In case of a tie, we move on to the next procedure, which would be the player with the higher number of cards remaining in their deck would win. In case this also applies, that it's a tie, the player with more character cards in their character area wins. And the 4th ruling would be if both players have the same number of characters in their character area, the player who last drew from their life area wins. After round 4, the top 2 will receive a winner card as a prize. There will also be a participation prize for all participants, so please enjoy the event to the very end, and I hope you're all looking forward to this tournament.
The first tournament started at 7 p.m. and finished at 9:30 with a total of 12 players, so 4 vacant spaces. The tournament was filled up with about 3 to 5 walk-ins. Round 1 was a mirror match with Kid. Round 1 was a mirror match with Kid starter deck. I was really nervous because this was literally my first competitive game. To be honest, with this match, I can't really remember how it went, but I did win. One of the players to the left of me had a deck limited Kaido deck, so where they combined 2 of the Kaido decks in order to optimize it. This is where a lot of the confusion began. Some of us were told that it was only this one structure deck, whereas others were told that they could combine both decks. The impression came from the entry conditions, where you had to buy at least 1 of the Super Pre-Release starter decks, and you couldn't buy more than 1 of each. So players who had entered Super Pre-Release tournaments prior and knew about the limited deck builds were definitely at a big advantage. Because the tournament had already started, they felt pressured to continue with using the combined deck. To be honest, I definitely wasn't happy about that ruling. Round 2, I faced a player named Jet, and this was a Kid versus Kaido battle. He was a player that I met on Wednesday when I went to go visit the shop the first time round. We played Kid versus Kaido on Wednesday, and it was 1-1, so this was definitely the decider. He's a very cool guy. He came first in a Dragon Ball Z regional. In this game, it eventually ran away from me as he kept popping my cards with Who's Who, King, Kaido, to eventually win the game. On to round 3, I faced a player named Aaron. I was still running the single starter Kid, whilst he played with a deck limited Crocodile. Aaron actually had his laptop with him, so he was actually working whilst whooping everyone. Honestly, it was mad. Previously won a super pre-release event in October, so he's already got a silver foil Luffy. Towards the end, I had no life and he had 1, and it was my turn. I swung big with Kid to take away his 1 life. Lo and behold, it was a trigger blocker Bonnie, so the second attack with leader Kid was basically null and void. And because he blocked, it was his turn and he just swung into me, and I ended up losing that match as well. Fourth and final match. At this point, I'm 1-2, still sticking with Kid, and I faced a deck limited Kaido. The player's name is Ben, fellow Filipino from Southampton, lives in London as well, so hopefully I get to see him in some tournaments. The match was pretty much even up until the mid game, but as it got into the later stages, King and Kaido came out, and from then on it was GG's, and I ended up losing that game as well. Second place of the tournament was Aaron, who I played in the third match. So this is his second, and first place was Jet. He let me look at the prize that he had won, and when I think about it now, I lost to the 2 people that made the final. Congratulations to both winners. After the tournament, one of the players noticed that someone that he was facing was cheating. So the 2 accounts of what he saw was when he used Kaido's leader effect to trash the opponent's life, what the opponent ended up doing is bringing it to their hand, not thinking that they would have to trash it, and instead using a bit of sleight of hand to trash a different card that wasn't useful to them at that time. I believe it was in the same match, but the second time he saw someone cheating is that board was a bit messy and the way that he was reshuffling Don was a bit dodgy, and I think he stated that he was reusing extra Don. So for all of you who are looking to play in tournaments, please keep an eye out on any cheaters and make sure you are vigilant through all of your battles. The player who witnessed the cheating didn't call any judges because he felt that he already had him on the ropes and he was going to end up winning the game anyway. My initial feelings after the first tournament, honestly, I felt angry, upset, and hard done by from players being able to use limited decks whilst I was only running a single starter deck. Up until this event, I've literally just been practicing with the single deck and felt like I had wasted my time. And only thinking that I could only participate one more time, which was the Sunday, I felt like I had just wasted one great opportunity to try and win this card. I guess I can't complain too much because the person who ended up winning was Jet, and he ran a single Kaido structure deck. And to be fair to them, on the Bandai app, the entry conditions didn't state anything about not being able to use any limited decks. It just stated that you had to at least buy 1 super pre-release deck in order to take part. As soon as I got back to the Airbnb, I spent the night looking at limited structure decks without promo cards on YouTube. More specifically, the YouTuber Eggman. He covered the top 16 deck lists of a tournament very similar to this, if not the same. After watching his videos, I was really torn between Kaido and Crocodile, but Kaido really fits my style of play. Now, on to day 2. This event I hadn't signed up for on the Bandai app because it didn't allow you to sign up to all 3. After the no-shows from yesterday, I felt like I had a good chance of participating in this event as well. The Airbnb at which I was staying at was only a 5-minute bus ride to the event. I got there at 10:30, put my name on the waiting list, first one to sign up, and the event would start at 2 p.m. So I had a couple of hours to kill. In the meantime, I went to the Newcastle City Centre with my fiance, where we had brunch at a place called Olive and Bean. After that, we went to Geek Retreat to get some sleeves, as I'm now deciding to run the Kaido deck. Just before the event started, we spoke to one of the judges about cheating and any confusion about any rules, to which they replied to call over a judge and they will be able to assist. Thankfully, I was able to participate in this event as well. It was a 2 p.m. start with 6 no-shows, 5 people on the waiting list, so in total 15 players participating in the tournament. As it was an odd number of players, one of the staff members filled in the last place. However, they weren't able to win the Silver Foil Luffy card, and if they did end up winning the tournament, then it would be second and third place, or if they came second, it would be third and third place that would get the prize. Round 1, I faced a player named Michael. He is also from London. As mentioned, I'm running a deck limited Kaido and he was running a deck limited Crocodile. This was a very close match, to be honest. Towards the end of the battle, what Michael had done is that he had attached all his Don to his characters to get ready to attack. After he had done that, he actioned Leader Crocodile's effect in order to bounce back my blocker. He had a 3k character on the board, which he attached 2 Don to, and put it back into his Don area, probably because he had a counter event card like Love Love Mellow in his hand. Bear in mind, the card hadn't attacked yet, but he did use an effect after attaching the Don. He asked if he could bring the Don back. I wasn't actually sure, so I called over a judge. To be honest, they weren't even sure, but the judge stated that because he used Leader Crocodile's effect after attaching the Don, he's no longer able to bring it back to his Don area. This is something that they're going to feed back to Bandai to get an official ruling on. Let me know in the comments below if you've encountered anything similar or if you actually know what the ruling is. It was a very close match. I had enough life to survive and then swing on the next turn in order to finish him. We spoke about that particular moment in the match and I had enough firepower to finish him off anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. I feel like the reason why I won this match is because I had kings on the board and I felt like he didn't have the cards in order to bounce it back to my hand. Round 2, I faced a player named Jan. He traveled all the way from Poland to attend this event. Props to you. He was running a single red Luffy deck. On this match, I felt like I was very unlucky and everything was going his way. In his first maybe 3 to 5 turns, he had all rush Sanji, so applying pressure from the very beginning. Turn 1, played Nami, attaching Don to either leader or character cards to just keep chipping away at my life. And because Kaido is more of a late game deck, I didn't have enough time to set up and he finished me very, very early. I had the only stage card out, but my hands were terrible. I had Kaido, King, Brachio Bombers, multiple of them in my hand, and it's nothing I could do very early in the game. In the end, he brought out Rush Luffy to finish me off. Honestly, that loss will haunt me for a while. Round 3, faced a player named Matty. He was running a single blue deck. He didn't also realize that it was a limited deck tournament, and he was also under the impression that it was only one structure deck. To be honest, I was very flustered from losing to that Luffy, as I thought it was a sure win, honestly. I was so flustered that I started making mistakes against Mate by not resting the specified Don or returning it back to my Don deck. Yeah, I was really thrown off, but thankfully he was very kind and just corrected me of what I needed to do. Obviously I wasn't trying to cheat, it's just my mind was just somewhere else. I needed to really compose myself. I made about 2 to 3 mistakes of maybe not resting Don, but he was very good to catch me on that, and then after that I regained my composure. I ended up winning this game as well, and once again King came up really big for me in terms of popping the opponent's cards and just attacking 7k. On to the final match. At this point I am 2-1. Round 4, once again I faced Aaron, the one who is working whilst whooping everyone. He ran the same deck as yesterday, which is deck limited blue, and he thought I was running Kid again, but to his surprise he saw that I was running Kaido. At this point I was making mistakes left, right and center. At one point I played Brachio Bomber trigger effect, where it sets 1 Don from your Don deck to active, but I didn't even have any Don in my Don deck to do that. So yeah, I basically wasted a card. I used Blast Breath really early on a 6k attack on my leader. And to be honest, the reason why I did that is he had already taken away a life from me and he was at full life. So if that attack had gone through, had I not used Blast Breath, I would have been at 3 life, and that would have made me a bit nervous, having lost to him already yesterday. Aaron suggested that I use that card way too early, and it's something that I should have saved more so for point. Let's just say if he did attack for 8k, then me boosting my leader or any other card by 4k would have been a much better time to play it. Let me know in the comments below what you think about that. Just to mention the mistakes that I was making, even to the point towards the end of the game, miscalculating Don. That game was probably the worst game I played in the tournament so far, and I ended up losing. By the end of the tournament, I had 2 wins and 2 losses, so still an improvement from yesterday. The winners of the Day 2 tournament was Jan, who ran a deck limited Kaido, and Locke, who also ran a deck limited Kaido. We're going to start seeing a theme here. Congrats to both winners. After the event, me and my fiance went back to the Newcastle city centre, where we had dinner at a burger joint called Fat Hippo. After dinner, we made our way back to the Airbnb. My mate Nigel, so kind of him, he played on OPT Sim from 8 p.m. to 12:30 a.m., where I managed to get a decent amount of reps in, because prior to the Day 2 tournament, I hadn't played with a deck limited Kaido, but obviously I had practiced with the Kaido deck on the tutorial app. Huge shout out to Batsu Games once again for providing us with OPTCG Sim. You are seriously the GOAT. All credit to you. Be sure to check him out. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be able to get all the reps in and test out the decks that we need to in order to win these tournaments. On to the third and final day, Day 3. If you've enjoyed the video, Gomu Gomu Pistol that like button, subscribe if you want to be Nakama, and hit that Shandorian bell to be notified on future videos. My name is Mello. Thanks for watching. Peace, love, and stay blessed.